I thought I was possessed today. I woke up and my right knee just are you okay there? My knee just started hurting out of nowhere. Like when you're hungover, you wake up and like I wasn't running around all over the place. I was sitting down for most of the night having a great time. I woke up and I've been limping all day and I don't know what happened to me.
Your first thought process is demons. I'm possessed. I have a bodily pain.
Yeah,
Demons.
possessed by age.
So tell me about your hangover.
Yeah, it I definitely have one.
I was just having drinks, watching horror movies all night.
So our set is haunted by the spirits of last night.
One of those brilliant things I've ever heard. Clever girl.
Oh, there you go. There's a little Jurassic Park reference.
From movies to video games, welcome to Marie Plays It All. Today's episode is Side Quest, and Kevin Lyons is back. We're doing
Back.
it again.
Yes, we are.
Pumped.
I'm excited. Thank you so much for having me on, Marie. It's always a pleasure.
Today we're talking about haunted movie sets, haunted places that were movies were filmed. I also got
Mhm.
like not just haunted, like ones that were like seemed cursed.
Yes, you know what? There was that show on Shudder. Was it Cursed Films? Have you
Yeah.
seen that? Yeah, it feels like they covered a lot. So I had to do a lot of research to find some other ones, but I do have one that is not on any of the things that I've researched. So I'm
Ooh.
excited that. But I love like hearing not just like haunted horror movies, but like the stories behind haunted things that were happening on set. And then it reminded me, do you remember that show? Was it Celebrity Ghost Stories?
Yeah.
So I love paranormal and I love horror movies, but whenever I don't believe a single actor who is claiming a paranormal story on that show. I've never
None.
ever. Mm-mm.
No one was compelling. No one.
They could have the most convincing stories because I know that they're actors. And so I
Yeah,
automatically
true.
like, I don't believe you. You're acting right now. And they were on a show
Yeah.
specifically to tell those stories. And so I'm just like, was
Mm,
it really, or do you just want some acting experience?
wasn't Carrie Fisher on one?
I think
I
so.
thought she
I'll believe
was.
Carrie Fisher. She could just say, I'm making this story up and tell it, and I will believe her because it's
Yeah,
Carrie Fisher.
I know. She's our only hope for this to be true. So some of the things were like it's like the actors would have experiences after or they like in different places, but some of the shit just happened while they're filming the movies. Like it's creepy. Some of it's creepy. One of them really creeps me out. And one of them, you know what? Every website that I looked up, because I was like, I gotta get some that people haven't heard about. It's hard to find, Kevin. You're right. It's hard to
Yeah.
find because it's usually the same stories over and over again. I only found one where it wasn't on every single page. You tell me one that you think's like a typical one, and then we can talk about it 'cause I'll probably have it on my list too. Or I saw it.
The Poltergeist.
Mhm.
That was
Mhm.
on there, because there
Yeah.
was, the I looked up the scene where the boy was being choked by the clown, the clown
Yeah.
doll? It had,
Yeah.
like, they had a mechanical thing, and apparently it was malfunctioning, and it was, like, really choking him while they were doing it, and the website said that even Steven Spielberg had to jump in and, like, take it off of him. I don't know if that part's true, but, that's just a creepy thing that would happen. You're pretending to die, but you're actually choking to death.
But that I mean, that'd make for good film. Like, that's a good scene.
We're gonna use it.
There's a couple movies where they use the actual scenes where crazy things were happening, and they use that scene, and
I
it
would
looks good.
Yeah, I think we're
It
gonna get
looks
to that, and I think I know exactly what movie you're talking about too. But for the
Yes.
Poltergeist, I think the biggest rumor for the Poltergeist was that pool scene where the skeletons were coming out while she was stuck in there, and that actress said that they used real bodies. What do you think? Because I've watched that recently, and you know what? Looking at it, I mean, it's very convincing rotting bodies.
Yeah, so apparently the actors didn't know at the time, but they found out after that they figured that the reason why the set and everyone on it was, like, so cursed by everything is because it was cheaper for them to purchase human skeleton remains than getting fake ones. I don't know how. like cheaper to purchase, or did you just dig up some graves? Like, how do you acquire full skeletons of humans? How do you get that?
The art department was run by Ed Gein. That's
Ed
for sure.
Gein!
Yeah,
Ed Gein's
he
coming
was
back.
doing it. Exactly. But it's so funny because that was the plot in the movie. It's just like you moved the headstones, but you didn't remove the bodies. And then they use actual bodies. But I guess where that came from is they mentioned that on the Cursed Films series is that they would use actual skeletons. Like back in the day in doctor's office, you ever go in a doctor's office and you see a
Yeah.
skeleton? Those were real skeletons. And there were companies that would actually they would do that. They would find bodies and use their skeletons and they would sell them. And I forget what old black and white movie it was, but there was a scene where there was like a skeleton rising out of a pool or something like that, and it was a real skeleton. And so I don't know if they just took real skeletons and put like latex over it, but that's messed up. Like, what would you do if you were an actor in a movie and you're supposed to be swimming in these pool of like dead bodies and then you find out that they're real dead bodies?
I would not be thrilled. I would be like, this seems disrespectful, but you know what though? Do you know what I want to know? Is there you know how you can like, oh, if I die, I can give my body to science. How do I write it in my will that if I die, I want my skeleton to be used in horror movies forever?
I would do that too, because that would be like my big break in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Don't cast me in a movie when I'm alive, but when we're dead, you can totally use my body as a dead body in a movie. Oh my God, that would be so great.
I know. How do we do this? How do we tell Hollywood, hey, we offer our skeletons to you. We take them when we perish.
If I was acting in a movie in that scene and I like you don't even have to act because those bodies look so real, but then like if they told me that they were real bodies, immediately take a shower. Immediately.
Immediately. Ugh. No, there's some people's bone marrow on you. Like, no, get it off me. Gross.
The
That's sick.
marrow. That's what you think about. That's what you're most grossed out about. Their marrow, not their rotting skin flesh. It's just like their marrow. Everything else I'm fine with. Don't get their marrow on me.
Just seems gross. Like all gelatinous.
Oh my God, I'm never eating Jello again. Just because you
Oh
said that
god.
word gelatinous when we were having that conversation. Never again. I'm done. No more Jello for me.
Have you ever eaten bone marrow?
Yes, I have, and it's delicious.
So not
It's so
bad. Just
delicious.
spread it on some bread.
That
Fucking
would be
good.
the least disgusting part of the dead body for me. I'm like, ooh, well, there's some marrow. Let me just scoop some of that onto some bread and craft services. We're going down a thing. We got to stick. All right. So, what other things have you heard about Poltergeist?
They think because they use the real bodies, they cursed. And like people, like so many people died. Like the little girl, she died. Like tragically, so many people died after that movie was made.
She died during the making of the third movie, and they had to
Mhm.
like she was in most of the movie, and then they hadn't filmed the last scene yet. And I was watching them talk about it again on that show, Cursed Films. That where do they have to? They had to get another body double or something like that. They just couldn't show her face for the rest of the movie, so you always saw the back of her head like a wig, and that's like really sad. That's messed up. Her older sister in the movie too. Did you hear about that?
No, which one? What happened?
Dominique Dunn, the actress who played the older sister, during the filming of that movie, she was dating an abusive person,
Mm.
and he would leave marks on her all the time. And I guess there's a couple of shots in Poltergeist where you can see bruising on her neck. Did you see that?
Your light turned off. I'm scared.
I know it's because of the battery. I didn't charge the batteries, but
Okay.
that's haunting. So shit, yeah, there are some shots where you can see bruising on her neck from her boyfriend. First of all, she was murdered by him. But also, and this was something I never noticed in the background before, but I guess during the movie, as soon as the paranormal activity started happening, the art department changed all the family photos in the background to have demons in them.
But
I didn't know that. I'm like, I need to go back and rewatch it and like look for that. But I heard that that's what they did for the movie. I'm like, that's interesting. That was really cool. But that's all I have for the Poltergeist.
I haven't watched that movie in years and years and years and years and years, and now I must.
It's so good. It's still so good. I love the effects in that movie too. What movie you got for me?
Obviously, we have to talk about The Exorcist. We have to.
Yes.
This sounded cursed AF because didn't 8 or 9 cast or crew members died like during or right after filming, like 9 people.
Not only that, I think people died, had heart attacks in the movie theater watching it.
Yes, yeah, I know people were having heart attacks and throwing up and stuff. I don't blame them. That
Yeah.
movie.
But I think it started even before the making of the movie, because I don't know if you saw this on where you were researching, but the author of the book that inspired the movie, William Peter Blatty, when he
Mhm.
was writing the book, his wife's hairbrush was floating. And I guess their house phone levitated as well. So I was just like,
What?
ooh, I didn't know that. Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
None of the websites I read said anything to do with that. That's awesome. I
I don't know
love
if it's
that.
true, but that was one of the instances that I came across when I was researching it.
Ugh, it's
But what
crazy.
other than people dying, what else have you heard about the actual set?
That it caught on fire and like pretty much a lot of it burnt down except for only Reagan's room on
Hmm.
set, which is where all the devil stuff takes place and possession. Ugh.
That's right. That's crazy how it could only happen. It happened everywhere except for one room. That's very suspicious. But did
Why?
you hear about the snow too?
Yeah, it was like snowed inside. They thought it was just like the air conditioners like malfunctioning, right? Or something.
Well, apparently it was very humid inside the
Ooh.
set, and I guess they left the air conditioners on one night, and
Mhm.
when they got in, there was snow everywhere, and there was still like snow falling because there was so much humidity in the air. But still, even though that they knew it was the air conditioners, it was still just really awkward. That they were just really spooked out by it.
How cold is this air conditioner? Because what I'm thinking about, like,
That
who has it?
that is a really good air conditioner. They don't make them like
Yeah,
they used to.
I was gonna say they sure don't make them like they used to. Yeah.
They stopped putting real ghosts in air conditioners in 1974. Like,
Yeah, due to the Exorcist film.
yes.
I wonder, like, because I thought that in that room they actually did make it super cold during the scenes where you can see the priest's breath and everything.
Yeah,
That's real, like their breath because it's so cold in there. So they must have had some sort of industrial frickin'
air
air
conditioner.
conditioner that was able to like make it super duper cold. Oh god.
But this is the movie where we're talking about where injuries were happening on set and they were using those takes.
Well, the scene where Linda Blair, who plays Reagan, who's the possessed little girl, the scene where she's like flailing up and down on the bed, she has a harness on, and they're actually like using this harness thing to like basically fling her body.
Hmm.
Um, she actually like fractured some sort of vertebrae in her lower back or something, right?
Yeah. And they just ended up using it. I would feel so
Yeah.
awful if that happened. I'd be like, "Yeah,
I
should we not
know.
use it?" But they're like, "No, we're using it."
Make it stop! It's burning! It's burning! Do something, doctor, please help her!
I mean, I know she's really in pain in that scene, but goddamn, like, I'm not saying she's selling it because it's really happening, but ew, that scene when you watch it, like, she's an amazing actress in this movie. Like, God, she did she get an award for that movie? She deserved an award, but like that, yeah, you can feel her pain. You can feel her
Yeah.
pain during that.
And the mom too.
Hmm.
She was thrown across the room, and I guess there was like something with the harness. The timing was done off, and she was thrown too early. And didn't she bash her head? But she also injured her back, and I think she permanently injured her back.
Yeah, it's like what there's a moment where Reagan like smacks her or
Yeah,
something, and she goes flying. And I guess yeah,
yeah.
something was wrong, and she
She
actually had
landed
the
on her
actual
coccyx.
scream. Yeah, her coccyx. She landed on her coccyx. Sometimes you land on the coccyx too hard, permanently
You were
injures
just
your back.
waiting for that word. You were just waiting for the coccyx.
You can't just let the coccyx fly under the radar.
Who named that part? That's what I want to know. Who named that part of the body?
Probably the same person who put friggin' real live skeletons up in their doctor's office.
If I die, Hollywood has my permission to use my coccyx. All right.
Oh
So
god.
that's it for The Exorcist, right?
I think that might be all for the extras is all
we
I saw. Yeah.
we need to get an exorcist for this podcast.
Oh my god. The power of Christ cannot compel this
Well,
episode.
remember that scene where he was falling down the stairs, like those big long
Mm.
stairs? Was somebody actually injured during that or no?
I don't see how the stunt guy couldn't have been injured. That looked crazy.
You know, like in Home Alone when they fall down the stairs or something like that. They would, I don't know if
Yeah.
they did in Home Alone, but they would pad the stairs. I don't know if they did
Yeah.
that for this. I think it was just an actual fall. Like that's messed up. But did you know about the stories of the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze? They're saying that Heather O'Rourke from the Poltergeist was haunting the set of Ghost because they were filming in the same soundstage as Happy Days, where Heather O'Rourke was a regular guest on that show. And so one of the things is she would like to play in the rafters, on set. And
Yeah.
when they were filming Ghost, the crew kept on hearing footsteps in the rafters, and they were hearing children laughter up there. And since then they were convinced that it was her ghost haunting that set because she had such a good time on that set.
Oh my God.
Isn't that
Ugh.
crazy?
Yeah. I don't like stories of little.
Did you just see this? Did
What?
you? No,
What?
like I
I'm
don't know.
scared. Don't.
I thought I saw like a little orb just fly in front of my head, or maybe it was just a bug. But usually I see a bug, like if I see it flying. But I just saw on the camera, I thought I saw it like a little thing just fly like right in front of my face. We used to have where I grew up. Like every small town has its own urban legends. The town next to us, we had a house called the Skin House, and so yeah.
What?
No, so check this out, right? So I guess maybe in the 1800s or early 1900s, this family had this girl babysitting their house, their kids in the house, and a fire broke out, and they got all the kids out except for the babysitter ran back inside because she thought she forgot a kid, and she got trapped up there on the second story floor, and she's trying to get out through the window, and she got melted onto the window
No.
to the fire. So like obviously they rebuilt the house, but no matter how many times they changed that window, if you drove by at night and you flash your high beams on it, you could see your silhouette in the window.
Shut up. No, it's not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Where is this?
I've done it too. This is in Dedham, Massachusetts. It was called the Skin House. Oh my God, am I upsetting you with this?
You're making me cry. No, it's not real. It's not sad tears. It's just my scared tears. Don't worry, I'm
Scary
okay.
stories tears. Those are the best.
These scary stories just hit me right in the coccyx, and I can't. The tears just. Okay, I'll tell you my one that I didn't know about, but first I just have to talk about. You can't talk about this and not talk about the friggin' OG Omen movie.
Yes.
How many people from that movie got struck by lightning or had their plane struck by lightning? It's
all of them
messed up.
Yeah.
There's like three people. Gregory Peck's plane got struck by lightning.
Yeah.
The producer, Mace Neufeld's plane got struck by lightning. And then writer David Seltzer's plane was struck by lightning. And then whoever Harvey Bernard is, he was almost struck by lightning. What?
How do you almost get struck by lightning?
Maybe it struck by. Maybe it was near. Maybe a tree. Most horrifically, the special effects director, John Richardson, and his assistant, Liz Moore, were in a car accident in the Netherlands. And Richardson made it out relatively unscathed, but Moore was decapitated in an extremely similar way to a scene in the movie.
Decapitation.
Yeah.
I think that's insane. That is so crazy. I think that's the most messed up way to go. Especially after all the lightning strikes, people almost getting struck by lightning. Somebody gets decapitated. No, I think we're done with the movie. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I think this happened after the movie was done filming, I think, but still, what? And also, to me, the scariest scene in The Omen, I don't really care for the movie The Omen that much. I watched it recently and I was like, man, it was too long. But that scene with the freaking baboon scared the crap out of me. You remember that?
Oh, that dude died. The trainer, the baboon wrangler, he died. He was mauled by a tiger after he was done filming, like the next day.
Yes.
I heard that, wasn't it that they were saying that like was it the producers saying that they shouldn't make the movie because somebody advised against it because the devil, Satan, likes to not be out in the open. He and you're gonna shine the spotlight on him and he's not gonna want that. And so that's why the film was cursed, I heard.
And apparently the remake of The Omen had stuff happen too.
I haven't seen the remake either. What happened in the remake?
I don't have it written down, but there was like a fire that like happened in storage. Is this a storage? Well, a fire happened and burnt like a whole bunch of the film. And then there was these glitches that happened, like something happened to the cameras, and then apparently on the cameras it said error 666. Apparently.
What? Oh my God. Have you ever come across that number like just naturally? Like I remember I was at the store once, I was buying a bunch of stuff and it randomly came out to $6.66. And I just thought that
Oh,
was so weird. And she goes,
yeah.
$6.66. Even the cashier went, oh, damn. And I was like,
Damn.
oh my God, can I get this piece of gum too? Let's like I added one more thing.
I would do. Okay, you want to know the scariest thing? Okay, when I went to go visit my brother in South Carolina last year, I am deathly afraid of flying. Okay, flying, I'm so scared. Like I'm just like I need to go get pills and like to
Mhm.
calm me down. Like I'm so scared of flying, and I was really anxious about it. And then when I was buying my plane ticket online, the total came to $666.
Yeah, and not even with the baggage fees, like with everything, that was $666.
After I got like some sort of like cancellation insurance, it changed. But I think I even
Okay.
took a picture of it. I think I even took a picture of it on the screen, and I was like, "This is a bad omen." What?
I wouldn't even try to make an additional charge. I just would not get on that flight. That is some like, what was that? Final destination shit right there. I would no, no, thank you. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Maybe 6 or 7 years ago, my girlfriend at the time, I would always fly back home for Christmas, and she was always sad when I left, but she said she had a nightmare one time. She called me before I left. She goes, "Do not drink water on the plane." I'm like, "Wait, what?" And she goes, "I had a dream where you were drinking something clear and your plane crashed." And it freaked me out so much to the point that since then I never drink water on an airplane. I will only have a colored liquid. I will have Gatorade, I have orange soda, anything. I will never drink clear liquid on an airplane. Are you
Scary.
frozen?
Please
I'm
don't do it.
like,
No, I was frozen in terror. I was like, "Yeah, don't do it. Do not."
mm-mm,
That's
mm-mm.
that's scary.
I ain't
Don't
messing.
ever.
There's some things I don't mess with. I will go mess with ghosts in a haunted house. I will not mess with a Ouija board. I will not mess with water on an airplane.
Okay. Do you have any more?
I do, and they're all in the Conjuring universe.
Oh, yeah.
Vera Farmiga, when she found out that she was cast and she was researching Lorraine Warren,
Mhm.
she found claw marks on her computer screen. Did you hear about that?
Yes.
She had claw marks on her computer screen, and also the actress Joey King. She would, even though she didn't do any stunts, like like Linda Blair, she was like going crazy in the bed. She didn't have any stunts. She would wake up with bruises on her body while they were making
Mhm.
the movie. And it's the same thing too, that like it's not just this movie. There's a lot of movies where they like cast members and people involved with the movie were waking up at the witching hour, like 3 o'clock in the morning. They would just randomly wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
That happened Amityville Horror.
Yep.
That happened. In The Conjuring, Joey King is the daughter who ends up like pointing at the corner with the shadow.
Yes.
And yeah, she's like, yeah, she didn't do any stunt. Yeah, she had the bruise. And didn't Vera, how you pronounce her last name? Is it Vera Farminga? Is it? How you pronounce
Yeah,
it?
Farminga, yeah.
I thought the scratch things that she saw on her computer ended like she saw them on her thigh or something too after.
Oh, did
It
she? I
happened.
didn't know about
I think
that.
so.
That's
I think so,
crazy.
yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. But also in the Conjuring universe, Annabelle Comes Home, McKenna Grace. This story was kind of, it's not even so much what happened, but like she woke up with I guess a scratch on close to her hairline, but it was in the shape of a triangle. And she told that to director, and instead of the director trying to soothe her and be like, "Oh, it's just a scratch," he told her that meant that she's gonna get abducted by aliens. Like, I'm like, who says that? It's like, oh my God, I'm really freaked out because I woke up with this triangle scratch on my. Oh, don't worry, you're just gonna get kidnapped by aliens. And I'd be like, it's nothing. Like why would you say that to a child?
It's funny that he would say an alien thing. Like, why didn't he be like something related to the movie? Well, we're filming we're Annabelle, maybe it's a demon mark. No, aliens? A whole
Maybe
thing.
it's just like, oh, let's make her scared about something else.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Alien.
Yeah, double the fear.
And I also heard that their first time on set all together, something happened like that. As soon as they were all there, all the lights in the soundstage went out. And when they finally came back on, she had a huge nosebleed. Now she said that she typically does get nosebleeds from allergies, but it had never been that bad before. And as soon as she walked off set to go get a napkin and to watch, it immediately stopped. Creepy. But yeah, that's all I have for the Conjuring universe.
I have one that I only saw on one page. One of my most favorite horror movies ever is The House of the Devil by Ty West. When he was filming House of the Devil, him and his crew, they were staying at hotel that they thought was haunted, which inspired his movie that came after that called The Innkeepers. Okay, so they were all staying at a hotel in Torrington, Connecticut called the Yankee Peddler Inn. And I have some
That sounds haunted.
The Yankee Peddler.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to the Yankee Peddler. So the hotel, a little backstory with the hotel, was built in 1891, and the original owner, Alice Conley, sounds like a ghost, has been rumored to have died in the hotel in 1910, and her death supposedly happened in room 353, where the majority of the paranormal experiences have come from, including weird smells, apparitions, and many guests have reported seeing different apparitions. The original owner's rocking chair moving in the lobby and lights flickering on and off. So this is where Ty West and the cast and crew were staying when filming House of the Devil. And he said, this is a quote from him. He said, "I've definitely seen doors close by themselves. I've seen the TV turn off and on by itself. Lights would always burn out in my room. Everyone on crew had very vivid dreams every night," which is really strange, that they all cohesively had these crazy intense dreams.
That's weird. That's crazy.
So because of that, he made the movie Innkeepers, which I watched a long time ago, and I need to rewatch it, I think, and it was like based on their experiences staying at this hotel, Yankee Peddler.
So like that is a movie that was based off of true stories?
Kind of, yeah. Like he took some of the, I think the lore for the hotel and like some of their experiences that they had while they were staying in the hotel. And he was like, I'm gonna make a movie about it called Innkeepers. Okay, so you said you had one that no one's heard before. Is it like your own personal story? Is it like a story
Not mine.
with someone you know?
It's my brother's.
Oh, okay.
Yes. All right. So I don't know. Have you ever heard of the story of Lizzie Borden? So you have. Yeah, it's famous in Massachusetts where I grew up, Fall River. In 1892, it was a famous murder where this girl murdered her father and her mother, and she was actually acquitted for it. I guess they couldn't prove that she did it, and there were other suspects too. But it was so crazy because she has her own Freddy Krueger little nursery rhyme that goes with it. Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. And I always remember seeing the photos of the bodies that, from the crime scene. And that house is now a bed and breakfast. Like somebody bought it and they made it a bed and breakfast house. And, they get guests all the time. It's the actual house where it happened. And my brother and his wife ended up staying there. They went there, and his wife ended up posing in the exact same position as the dead bodies, like as the mother and the father, in the exactly where they were found. During the day, obviously, but then they decided to do some ghost hunting at night at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So they went down into the basement. They had those dowsing rods, and they had a ghost box too. And they were also filming with their phones at the time. He says he doesn't have the video anymore because it was on an old phone. He's not a big social media guy. He was just doing it while we're there, They were experiencing paranormal activity. They had the dowsing rods would answer every single question whenever he was asking. They had a ghost box too that was it says words on like a fast frequency
like
channel.
there was like radio signals going really, really fast. Yeah, spirit box.
One of which, like he said, he was Mr. Borden is who they made contact with, but he also got messages, I guess, from we have relatives who were buried in a cemetery nearby in the same Fall River Cemetery, and I guess he got names from some of our relatives who were buried there. He asked if Mr. Borden is here. He goes, please let me know or do something, and he felt him touch his arm and his shoulder. I guess I have to ask him the story again because he hasn't told it to me in a while. But he felt his entire arm completely freeze, and then their phones shut off, like they were fully charged and they just completely shut off. That's a Lizzie Borden house. And they've made a bunch of I think a bunch of like B-level movies about Lizzie Borden and that in the house and stuff like that. But it was just crazy. It was just a fun story that my brother experienced, that him and his wife experienced there.
Well, that's a creepy little story.
Yeah,
Oh,
isn't
I have
it?
I have stories too. Like I stayed. There's a haunted hotel here in my city, and there's a haunted room in it, 202, and I've stayed in it like 6 times. Maybe not 6 times. Maybe four or 5 times. I stayed in it just like a couple years ago. I had a whole Instagram story on it. I think it's on my Instagram. The first 3 times I stayed in it, things happened every single time.
We should definitely do another like haunted story episode, scary stories. I have one that that's multiple occurrences throughout months, and I would investigate it, and it wasn't even at my house, it was at a different one, but I would try to explain everything, and it just no. And then I started seeing stuff. You bring some tissues for that story, because it, like, even just thinking about it, I start to get teary-eyed just thinking about it. It's crazy.
Gotta bring some tissues that's gonna hit my coccyx hard. If anyone wants to hear a ghost story episode with me and Kevin, you let us know, because we have stories. I have other stories too, but I've never seen an apparition, but I maybe heard something before. Heard.
Ooh, okay.
So stay tuned for the next episode, because Kevin, because we're going to talk about some scary shit. It's not spooky season. We gotta get you scared, teary eyes. Let's go. Thank you for watching another episode of Replays It All. It's a side quest with Kevin Lyons. We're talking about spooky places, spooky shit that happens on sets. I was say quests. You can find more of our content on our YouTube channel, Not a Strong Start. And you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Not a Strong Start. And you can listen to us anywhere you listen to your podcast, and like and subscribe and share and comment, all that stuff. You can follow me on Instagram at Marie Plays It All. Where can we follow you, Kevin Lyons?
You can follow me at Twin Pines Video on Instagram and YouTube. And I also do another segment called The Movie Stash with Augustino Zoida. He's my best friend, stand-up comic. And we just make each other watch movies and talk about them. So that's The Movie Stash. And you can also find me at Twin Pines Video.
Never stop protecting your coccyx.
Wrap up your coccyx.
Coccyx is a small triangular bone at the base of the spinal column in humans and some apes.
Who's a good baby?